Hi, I'm Jack Cohen, and today I'm reporting live for Kingscliff Public School from the Salt Surf Club Tower, and I'm investigating the recent spate of shark attacks in the area and the impacts that they are having on the local communities. In 14 months, a 126 kilometre stretch of coastal line from Byron Bay to Yamba saw more than half of all unprovoked shark attacks in Australia. 2 people were killed, 3 were badly injured, and 5 had a very lucky escape. People are scared, and not just in the towns where they have taken place. In every community there are many stakeholder groups affected by the attacks, including residents, tourists, surfers, surf clubs, nippers, local businesses and local authorities. To help us understand more about the attacks, I'm very lucky to be joined today by Dr Rob Slade, who is an expert marine scientist. Rob is a senior marine scientist at Blue Planet Marine, a leading marine environmental research organisation. Rob has over 30 years' experience in the world's oceans and has spent a lot of time with sharks. Rob has kindly agreed to talk to us today about the reasons for the attacks, the effects that they are having on communities, and the measures being taken to minimise them. So Rob, to start with, would you mind telling us a little bit about your experience with sharks? I heard you used to clean out a bull shark enclosure.
That's right, Jack. Yes, I used to work as a diver at SeaWorld, and one of the jobs we had was to clean out the big shark tank. And in that shark tank is a big bull shark called Elle. She's been there a long time. So yes, that's one of the jobs I've had. But I've also, most of my marine science experience is with marine mammals like whales and dugongs and seals. But I've also done a bit of work on sharks, and I've helped research projects catch leopard sharks, where we're putting tags on leopard sharks up off North Stradbroke Island, and also helped with a project where we were trying to catch bamboo sharks.
Wow, you know sharks pretty well then. So what, in your view, are the reasons for the recent spike in the number of shark attacks in the area?
Yeah, Jack. Look, you're right. There has been a spike in shark attacks, hasn't there? There's certainly a lot more in the last few years than we've had previously. Look, I think the evidence is still out. We don't know exactly why there's more, but I'll tell you why I think there's more shark attacks, and it's pretty simple. There are more sharks, and the reason that there are more sharks, there are 2 main reasons. One is there's more food for sharks, and we're also not killing sharks anymore, are we? I mean, sharks, nearly all shark species in Australia are protected. So that's why I think there are more sharks. Now, having more food for sharks and not killing sharks, those 2 things, they're both good, aren't they? I mean, they're good things. But it does mean that with more sharks in the ocean, the risk of a shark attack is going to go up.
Yeah. Which sharks pose the greatest threat to people? Are they bull sharks because they can swim in salt and fresh water?
Yeah, no, you're right, Jack. Look, you know, around here, you'd really be concerned about great whites, tiger sharks or bull sharks. But yeah, you're right. Bull sharks can tolerate. They won't swim in absolutely fresh water, but they can tolerate more fresh water than any other shark species around. So you'll never find great whites or tigers swimming way up river systems, for example, but you will find bull sharks there. They'll go up to where the water is what we call brackish, So it might be half seawater and half fresh water. They won't go all the way up to where it's purely fresh. But the other thing that bull sharks are comfortable with, and that's murky water. They're comfortable feeding when the water's murky, and when the water's murky, of course, you can't see them that well. So yeah, I'd probably, of those three that we're worried about here, the tigers, the great whites and the bull sharks mostly, I'd probably put bull sharks at the top of the list for concern.
Yeah. Can you give us some examples of the impacts that are having on local communities?
Yeah, well, most attacks are being made on surfers, aren't they? And surfers are out there in the water, they're out the back, they're not swimming close to shore, they're further out where the sharks might be. So it's having a big impact on surfers. A lot of surfers, when those attacks are happening, they're just not going out for a surf here, or they're travelling north to the Gold Coast where they think it's safer. So it has a big impact on surfers, and if it has a big impact on surfers, then it's going to have an impact on businesses, for example, that support surfers, like local surf shops are probably struggling or got less business because there are fewer surfers going out, and therefore they're not buying as much stuff. The other part would be probably nippers, I suppose. Nippers in various places. The parents are concerned about sending their children out in the ocean. And I know down at Lennox Head, for example, that they were having the nippers train in the lake rather than go out into the ocean. So it's having a significant impact on local communities.
Have there ever been any shark encounters in Kingscliff?
There haven't been any recent attacks in Kingscliff, but there have been quite a number of sightings. And there was one earlier this week just up off near Coogin Creek, off South Beach there. So yes, we're seeing sharks in this area, but thankfully no attacks.
What measures are being taken by authorities and community organisations such as surf clubs to prevent attacks?
Well, there's a number of things that the New South Wales government is doing. One thing they're doing is they've got this Shark Smart app, so that if there are any sightings of sharks in your area and you have this app on your phone, then you'll get a message to say, look, there's a shark just been sighted off Cabarita Beach or off Kingscliff or wherever. So that's one thing. They're in two places here, at Lennox Head and at Ballina, they're going to put out these eco shark nets. Now these are a bit different to the shark nets that the Gold Coast has. These are hard plastic nets that won't damage any wildlife but will keep sharks out of that area where the net is, and the swimmers can swim in there safely. They're also, the Department of Primary Industries in New South Wales is also tagging sharks, so they're putting on satellite tags and acoustic tags. Now with a satellite tag you can get the information. When the information goes up to a satellite and back to a computer, you can see where that shark's been. With the acoustic tags, they put out receivers at certain places, and there's a receiver about 500 metres offshore from Kingscliff Beach. And if a shark swims close to that receiver, the receiver will pick up the acoustic signal from the acoustic tag, and again will know that a shark is in the area. And there are also, I think, aerial surveys, or for example, if you see a shark or patrol sees a shark or think there's a shark near swimmers, they can call up a helicopter to come and have a look and sight for them.
How effective do you think these measures are, and are they harming sharks or other marine life?
Jack, it's probably too early to say how effective they've been. They've only just recently started these programs. Personally, I don't think they'll be enormously effective. For example, the Shark Smart app, it sends a message to your phone saying there's a shark in the area. But if you're out surfing, you're not going to have your phone with you. You're not going to really know. So I think the hard nets at Ballina and Lennox will be very effective if they can install them properly. But I guess the important thing is, and this is certainly the stance that the New South Wales government's taken, is that none of these measures will harm sharks, and none of these measures will harm other marine life either. So, for example, the nets on the Gold Coast will catch turtles and dolphins and so forth, and whales will get caught in there. The measures that the New South Wales government's putting in place here won't harm other marine life.
And finally, Rob, what's your advice to the Kingscliff school community to risk of a shark encounter?
Yeah, good question, Jack. And I think the most important thing would be swim between the flags. Because if you swim between the flags, you'll have lifesavers or lifeguards in the holiday season. So you'll have lifesavers or lifeguards looking out for that area in between the flags and just to either side of it, and they'll be looking for sharks. That's one of their duties as a lifesaver. If they see a shark in that area, they'll sound the alarm and get everyone out. So look, I think the most important thing is swim between the flags, which you should be doing anyway, shouldn't you?
Yeah.
The other thing is don't swim at dawn or dusk, because that's when sharks often feed. So wait until the sun's up a little way before you swim. And probably the third thing would be that if the water's murky, don't go in.
Yeah.
Particularly bull sharks, as we talked about before. Bull sharks like to feed in murky water, and in murky water it's hard to see them. So swim between the flags, don't swim at dawn or dusk, and don't swim when the water's murky.
Yeah. Well, Rob, on behalf of students at Kingscliff Public School, I'd just like to thank you for that fascinating insight into the attacks.
You're welcome, Jack. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, mate.
Clearly, nobody is ever 100% safe in the water, but if we're shark smart, then we're more likely to get hit by lightning than eaten by a bull shark. Thank you very much, Rob, and I hope we can speak again soon.
Thanks, Jack. Cheers, mate. I went a bit early.